Teresa, she joined our membership. She's like, here's what I do. She goes, I raise sheep. I shear the sheep. And we're like, okay. Then I take the sheep and I dye the wool. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to teach them how to dye the wool? She goes, no. She goes, I take the wool and I use this technique called needle felting to turn the wool into stuffed animals. And she holds up a giraffe. And we're like, okay, so that's what you're going to do. And she's like, yes. I'm going to build a community of sheep shearing, wool dyeing, needle felting artisans who do this for a hobby. And we're like, okay, she has 400 members.
Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. And boy, do I have an awesome episode for you. Today, I'm chatting with Shane Sams of Flipped Lifestyle. We had a blast chatting, and I know you're going to love this episode. Here it is.
When you quit your job in the middle of a school year in Southeast Kentucky, where jobs are scarce, right? People look at you kind of funny, man. We got all these crazy questions. Like my mom, she was like, she cornered me one day, man. She was mad. She was like, you have flipped out. You have lost your mind. I cannot believe that you would give up that good job with those good benefits, and you've got babies, Shane Sams. You've got babies. You know, she was mad at me. And then other people were like, "Hey, are you and Jocelyn okay? Did you lose your job? Are you getting divorced?" And I'm like, "This is the opposite of divorce. No, I know we're not getting divorced." But you know, sooner or later, like people asked us if we'd sold drugs. I got that question well more than once.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy, dude. And but I some people started saying like, "Wow, what are you doing? Like, how can I do that?" And a girl in our Sunday school class, her name was Lindsay. She said, she's like, nothing bad's happened to me, but I have a dream to homeschool my kids. But I can't do that if I'm working full time. Wow. So do you think I can make money at home and work online too? And we're like, yeah, sure. We didn't know any better. So we showed her exactly what we did. It only took her a few months and she quit her job.
What was her niche?
It was education. She was in education too. So she was serving instructors with the same thing we did, like lesson plans and stuff like that. And she would even sell them in like third-party marketplaces or to other content creators like us or anybody. Like, so she was kind of like this, putting it out there, you know?
Wow.
And when she quit her job, man, her husband like came up to me crying after church one day and was like, "You changed our lives. You changed our family's future, man." He's like, "I'm going back to school and we're paying for it with cash so that I can get a better job." And he's like, "This is amazing." And I was like, "Wow, that's awesome." And didn't know what to say, you know?
Yeah.
And when I got in the car with Jocelyn after church that day, I was like, man, this online business stuff really changed our life and it really changed their life. Like, maybe we should tell other people about this.
Yeah.
You know? And I actually had not done it yet. So fast forward a couple months, we have a bad month. Our first really bad month when we're like, oh, entrepreneurship is not all fun and unicorns and rainbows, right? You know,
right?
Like there's bad things that can happen, y'all.
Yes.
And so we had this horrific month, but we had 6 months of expenses saved up and stuff. So it wasn't like a terrible thing, but it was like, you know, 2 or 3 of those in a row and the wheels are coming off the bus.
Right.
So we had about 6 months of runway. The sales went choo-choo for 2 straight months. I was like, we got to get some help. We cannot keep doing this alone. Yeah. And went out to see Pat Flynn. He was having a live event. It was a small live event, 20 people, a workshop. You could come ask him questions. And I was like, Jocelyn, we should chunk off that last month or 2 and we should pay for this. And Jocelyn was like, "Oh, you crazy? Can't do that. What if we have 16 bad months in a row?" Scarcity mindset was kicking in, you know? Yeah. So we got a credit card. Sorry, Dave Ramsey. Apologize. And went out there and we went to him. We saw him. We got some great advice for our business. But at the same time, I presented this thing like, "Pat, I think we have a different vibe. Like, you know, it's the same thing you're doing, but man, you're a Filipino guy from California or something. I'm an old boy from Kentucky, and like, you know, we're going to do this together, me and Jocelyn. So we're going to have our podcast where we talk a man and a woman on the air, and you know, it's like, what do you think?" And he was like, "Go for it." Just total abundance. He was like, "I'll do anything I can to help you." In fact,
because he had the Smart Passive Income podcast.
That's right.
So he could have thought, you know what? No, that's my thing.
That's right. That's right. But he did not. He said, "Man, there's so many people out there on the internet. Some people are going to like you. Some people are going to like me. But the great thing is they're all going to get help." And then he had me on my story is so entwined with his story that he had us on his podcast, and we actually launched Flipped Lifestyle on his show.
Wow.
Yeah. We said, "Hey, it's open." We opened it like the week before, and then the next week we had a webinar, and we got 120 people to join.
120. Wow. What was that first price point?
I think $49
Nice.
a month, and it's $197 now.
Wow.
Yeah, a month. So like, yeah, it was $49, man, and it just blew up. So
Man.
and then it got so fulfilling. Like it got big, but Elementary Librarian was still definitely the cash cow, the bellwether. I mean, it was just like, it was easy, you know. We were about 3 or 4 years in. Flipped Lifestyle was getting up there. Like, it was a great income, and it was great community, and we were starting to see success stories. Like, we were starting to see other people, like we had people like Rena Oriana. She came in early in our community, and she started this dancing website teaching people how to flamenco dance.
I listened to that episode.
Yeah, and she like blew it up, got 75 members. She quit her job supplemented her studio, and then she had her own studio, and she has 400 members in that membership now, man.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Do you think there's any niche that you can't build a membership site around?
I don't think so. I'm really starting to wonder, because like, we've had people, like, we got this guy named Kenny Troiano out in San Diego, and he teaches people how to raise backyard chickens. That's all he does. And like, he has 200 people in his membership site. We've seen artists like, there's a guy named Evan Burse. He teaches people how to draw superheroes.
Gosh.
And he's got his whole living. He makes all.
I got a crazy idea. You ought to find like you ought to ask your community, what's the craziest niche you can think of? And let's find
I know it.
Let's see if we can, let's all together figure out, let's create a memberbership site together, or find somebody that does this.
All right, so here's the one we'd have to beat. Okay, so there's this lady up in North Dakota named Teresa Perlyberg. That's a real name.
Perlyberg? Okay.
Perlyberg.
Okay.
Like a city, Perlyberg, the city of Perlyberg. Teresa Perlyberg. And Teresa, she joined our membership. She's like, I have this website called Bear Mountain Felting, and here's what I do. She goes, I raise sheep. We're like, okay, so you're gonna teach people how to raise sheep? She goes, no. I shear the sheep. And we're like, okay, so you're gonna teach people how to raise the sheep and shear the sheep? She goes, no. Then I take the sheep and I dye the wool. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to teach them how to dye the wool? She goes, no. All right, what are you going to do with it? She goes, I take the wool and I use this technique called needle felting to turn the wool into stuffed animals. And she holds up a giraffe. And we're like, okay, so that's what you're going to do. And she's like, yes, I'm going to build a community of sheep shearing, wool dyeing, needle felting artisans who do this for a hobby. It's not even looking for a job or anything.
Oh my gosh.
And we're like, okay, she has 400 members.
400?
Her membership is so big. She bought an old school in North Dakota, and she turned all the rooms into like little Airbnbs, and she flies people into North Dakota to have sheep shearing, needle felting seminars in person in her own world headquarters.
Hey, Ryan Rieger here. If you're looking for proven real strategies for making money online, then grab my book, Streams of Income. In it, I detail the 3 main ways to make money online. And these are strategies that students of mine all over the world are using to make real money. And the best part is these are strategies that you can get started with $0 and 0 experience. So if you'd like a free copy of my book, Streams of Income, check out the link in the description below.